Greetings, everyone. This is Russell Rucker. Welcome to my home. This is my studio I use for YouTube and Rumble. I guess my cat wants to make an appearance. But this bell is a replica of the Liberty Bell in Philadelphia. And in my new book, I use this old spelling of Philadelphia that's actually on that bell. I've written now 3 books is trying to help explain the Constitution and our founding principles because I think it's important. But this book, 126 Days in Philada, and this is a mock-up, so you're actually able to see it. Okay, and that's what's so that you can actually see it. Okay, and but in the book, and this is a historical fiction, and I'd like to talk about the first 2 books were nonfiction, and I want to talk a little bit about historical fiction. I've never been a real big fan because lots of people will use, say, famous people to help tell a story, and the entire story is fictitious. But that isn't the case with 126 Days in Philada, because we've used actual a text of speeches throughout the book to help tell the story of the convention. And my whole idea here was that to open up the convention to make the average people understand really what happened there, and make it more of a clearer understanding of the document itself through the convention itself. And a convention is a meeting. It's a meeting of states that we had in 1787. And it's important. Now, the backdrop I use here, and I use this as here because I use it for my YouTube and Rumble channel. And these men, Madison and Hamilton and Patterson and Rufus and Washington and Robert Morris, Gouverneur Morris, Rufus King, all these men were of great importance, and in my book you'll hear plenty of speeches discussing their views as they tried to hammer out a document. And this book is historically accurate to a fault. I've even researched weather for the book, and I've researched the individual people, so you have a little bit of a statement as they appear of who they really were, and it gives a better understanding of what happened and why they were in the convention to begin with. So what is not accurate is the guy I've created that goes to the convention as a delegate, and so he's in the integral meetings. Now, one of the things that makes my book different too is my understanding of governmental meetings, and I have served in government, so I've been there. I understand how meetings work, so I'm able to help bring this convention alive, which is a meeting. That's what it is. It's a meeting called for by Congress. And principal idea was to update the Articles of Confederation, which was our first constitution at the time. So we're really building on a serious historical venture here. And the whole purpose is to make our citizens, you and me and everyone else, having a better understanding of the document. So I began the story with the delegate leaving his home and heading for the convention. And he gets there and he's involved with the people that are there. Ben Franklin lives there, for instance. Now, what you have in the records is you have a lot of different note takers, like Yates, who left the convention midway through and went home because he was upset, but he had been taking notes. And Madison took notes throughout. Hamilton took notes. There were upwards to 8 note takers in the convention. So I've consolidated and I've removed redundancy so the story could flow better. But it is an accurate portrayal of what happened. And I even found in my research, the order of the parade on their July 4th and some meetings that happened, away from the actual meeting. And so we've gone through some of those, some of the dinners, but we've really held with an accurate portrayal of the Constitutional Convention. 126 days in Philada. That's the number of days that they were there hammering it out. And it's an important meeting, and it's an important thing to understand. And I want you to understand what I'm trying to do in the book. This is a serious attempt to make you understand exactly what occurred. And it's a very interesting book, complete with all kinds of interesting people that are involved in the convention itself, from St. Thomas of Genevieve, Franklin. Those two are the only aging statesmen you have in the convention. And then you have a lot of young people, but they were people that had been active in their state legislatures and in their state governments. Madison wrote up what generally became the final version, but you also had Patterson's plan, you had Pinckney's plan. So there were competing plans as they came in, and Hamilton's plans. And as we go through so many of these arguments, it really gives a clearer understanding. And my book has a table of contents that goes by date that actually helps you find the exact arguments you may be looking for. So there's sections on the division of powers, on the judiciary, on the legislative body as we're going through it. So it's easy to footnote and find the area of interest. But it's also a compelling story. A compelling story of a delegate and his family who later went to the meeting as well. Many of the delegates had their families with them. So it's important to that aspect. I hope you really enjoy the book. I've worked very, very hard on this. I've spent about 1.5 years now getting this written and to market, and it'll be available real shortly. And I hope you really enjoy my new book. Okay, thank you for your time today. And check me out on russelljrucker.com, which is my website. And my books are also available at amazon.com and Barnes & Noble, and you can probably order it anywhere good fine books are sold. So, my website is a place where you can get a signed copy. I've tried real hard to really bring it and make you understand why liberty is important, why the arguments are important, why we need to look at the arguments to determine what the meaning is. So all of these things matter to our Constitution. And of course, this volume only discusses the arguments in the convention. It doesn't get into um, the amendments, although there are discussions that show that some of what's in the amendments were also being discussed. And there was a move at the end of the convention to have a Bill of Rights. So there were different things involved in the convention, and some real interesting comings and goings of the founders. They weren't all there throughout the entire convention. So some came and went, and some returned back later. And it was just a very interesting meeting. And I spent over 40 years of my life researching not only this, but of our founding documents. So I have a real good, solid understanding of it. And so I had a chance to really bring this to life. I really hope you enjoy the book. And I hope you come and join me on subscribe to me on YouTube, follow me on Rumble, come join my Facebook discussion groups, a Constitution 101 and Friends of Textualism and Originalism. And I hope to see you there, or I hope you just read the book and get a real understanding of what occurred. Well, thank you so much for your time, and we'll talk to you again. Goodbye for now.